All right, there we go. This has been a fabulous morning, and I'm so excited to be here, not just for today, but for the balance of the week and all of the things to come. My name is Dana Fox, and I am a cancer survivor. I got the news in November of 2023. I had run Boston Marathon in 2023. I was in the top 10 in my age group, and I was thinking about going to Berlin, registering to see if I could break the Canadian record. And that was in October. And 4 days later, I was out for a long run on a Sunday, a little bit like the speaker this morning. I was doing a 30K run with some friends, and I thought, gee, this is odd. There's this tingling feeling at the end of your fingers that you get when you're running out of oxygen. And this started to appear somewhere around 20K, and I was just running easy. This should never happen. And I thought, that's a check engine light coming on the dashboard. Pull over. I've been in enough races to know that if you get this feeling, you're usually about 200 meters left to go before you hit the finish line. This should never be coming on while you're having a chat with friends going for a nice easy run. So I said, you guys go. I'll walk it in. I'll just run in, and I'll see what's going on. So I phoned my family doctor the next morning, the Monday morning. And so I haven't called him in 30 years, and of course. And I said, look, I got this tingling thing going on. There's something's not right. I can't tell you what it is, but something's not right. And he said, okay, come and see me today at 2. I went, wow, that was fast, because I hear about people having trouble getting in. So fantastic. So 2 o'clock, boom, I'm inside. And he says, yeah, I don't get it. There's something weird going on down there near your liver, and I'm not sure. So let's go schedule some testing. I thought, well, this is going to take months. It's like, nope, blood tests that afternoon. I was in for an ultrasound, x-rays on Tuesday. Wednesday, there was a consult, and then Thursday, it was like, okay, we've kind of made our recommendations or whatever, and I started visiting with the liver surgeon, and he said, from where I'm sitting, you got so many lesions on your liver, I can't do anything with it. And based on 20 years worth of data, you'll be dead by October. So, and I'm thinking, wow, like we're 3 minutes into this conversation, and this is a lot to take in, because last week I was planning to do Berlin and break the Canadian record, and now I'm being told you're done. And at 3 minutes in, you know, everything starts to spin, and all I hear is white noise. And I've only got 20 minutes with the guy, so my wife's trying to madly take notes. And 27 minutes later, we're asked to leave. So you'll be dead by October, maybe on November if you do chemo. And I said, okay, let's see what the oncologist says. And she basically told me the same thing on Friday. You'll be done by October. I'm so sorry. I hate that phrase. I'm so sorry. But that's sort of the news that we got. And then I went to see the family doctor, and he said, yeah, he's the first guy that told me, you've got this cholangiocarcinoma thing. I read about it when I was in university. I don't really know anything more about it. I'm in the deep end. Don't ask me any other questions. And I thought, okay, nobody in the last 3 people that I've talked to in the last 24 hours really knows anything about what I have, and they've suggested chemo. So, okay. So we left the building, go into the parking lot, you have the big cry, and now you're headed home. So that was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we had to explain this to our kids, and said that was a tough moment. And my son said, well, I'm going to start doing research. So so this is an hour and a half later. At 3:30, my son made a phone, he looked it up, found the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation online. My son made a phone call. He said, hi, we're in big trouble. My dad's got this disease called cholangiocarcinoma, I think. We don't know what to do. they're saying he's going to be gone by October, and I don't want him to die. What can you do to help? And I think it was Melinda. And she said, you need a mentor. And so we got a mentor. And I like, okay, how long is that going to take? It's like, he's calling you at 4:30. I thought, are you kidding me? We got a mentor calling us at 4:30, and it was Adam from Ottawa. He called and said, hi, I'm here to help. Don't panic. And I said, well, I'm panicking. I'm out at the pharmacy getting stuff ready to go to the chemo session. And he said, okay, if your dad's not in the house, I'm going to call you Sunday morning. I thought, who calls on a Sunday morning? He's like, this guy does. He called us at 10:30 in the morning and said, okay, family huddle, here's what's going on. Here's what you need to start thinking about. It's not over. Like, you're not the only one, and it's not over. So you have to start thinking about next steps and planning things out. And that was a really good moment. But boy, oh boy, that was a tough day. Two magical things happened that day. So one was we got to speak with Adam, so that was fabulous, and we were introduced to the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation 90 minutes after I left the parking lot. That's incredible. Like, when you think about it, that is incredible. 90 minutes after I got the diagnosis, I was put into the hands of the people that actually understand this worldwide and have the best way of providing care. So I said, wow, that's a gift. The second thing that happened was I thought back, and I don't know how this name came up to me, but I ended up calling one of our kids' old coaches. Her husband had died of brain cancer. She had breast cancer. She's about 72, but boy, she's a drill sergeant, and she was a track coach. And I sent her a text message, and I said, Jordy, I got cancer. It's cholangiocarcinoma, and I'd like to talk to you about cancer if there's some moment you could. And like 20 seconds later, Jordy calls me on the phone, and she said, okay, mister, I'm just going to give you a message right now. You think you have cancer and it's over? I'm going to tell you you've got an injury. Your body doesn't want to quit. It's trying to find a way to recover. Do not let anybody define what's going to happen next except you. You are the person that's got the injury, and you're the person that's going to figure out how to do this recovery. So don't you quit. So I said, okay, I got the message, Jordy. And she says, okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this chemo thing, because she's got lots of experience. She said, you know when you used to go to track and you'd get your spikes on and you would go to track workout, and it was really hard work and you just got trashed. The next day you didn't really feel like running. It actually didn't feel really well. But 2 days later you started to feel better. This is how you get faster at track. You can't get faster unless you pay the price. And I said, yeah, I remember those days. She said, well, get your track bag out. And I thought she's joking, get my track bag out. And she said, no, I'm serious. You get your track bag out, you get your spikes out, you get your towel out, you get your water bottle, you load your bag, and when you go to chemo, you, in your mind, as soon as you leave that car, she said, you're not going to chemo, you're going to a track workout, and you're going to learn how to get faster. You're going to learn how to recover. These people are there to help you rebuild what's broken. Don't you quit. Get on the track. Get going. And you're going to call me when you're done your chemo session. I said, okay. So I walked in with my bag and sat down and said, okay, it's time to get to work. I'm going to go back to doing track workouts. I brought with me my track spikes. So this is my track spike from 1971. It was actually built, manufactured in West Berlin. So it's a little piece of history. These shoes were given to me by my dad in 1971 when I weighed 96 pounds and was trying to figure out what could I do at high school and do well. And running was really the only thing that I could do. And the school offered a bunch of old track spikes in a bag. Half of them didn't fit, and some were broken. I had a pair. My dad said, okay, we're gonna go out, find a pair of these shoes. And so I carried these with me to every track workout. It was a way of taking my dad with me to every workout so that I would have company. And my dad always believed in what I was doing. So I bring him with me today. When we started this program in December 22nd, so I had to wait a bit of time before I got into chemo. When I started this program on chemo, I had lost 25 pounds from October to December. So at 140 pounds, you're starting to look like somebody else. And the weight was dropping so fast. I thought, I know how I'm going to die. Like, if you don't fix this, I know how you're going to die. It won't be cancer. I'm just going to have organ failure, because you're going to go from 140 to 120. I'll be in a wheelchair in about 2 months, and then after that, there'll be nothing left. So I had to start working on putting on weight. I was so grateful I found out from another person that there was actually a registered dietitian that specialized in people like me with cancer. And when she heard she had an athlete in the building, like somebody that was actually still fit, she ran to my bed. She said, I want to help you because you're in big trouble. Your body is used to using so much calories or so much fuel every day. And this cancer thing is using 10 times more fuel than any other cell in your body. You have to put on some weight or you're not going to make it. So she helped me actually put on 25 pounds in 60 days. And that's a really hard thing to do when you can't eat, right? Like your stomach's getting squished with this big tumor thing pushing over and the bile duct thing's not working. It's like the whole machine's not really working very well. My daughter left her full-time job as a teacher. She worked part-time, so she only worked a few hours in the morning. She fed me every hour and a half. So every 90 minutes, I had to eat something, right? Tiny, tiny little pieces that I could keep down. This is the way I gained 25 pounds in 60 days. So when somebody says, I can't eat and I can't do this and I can't say, well, if you work with some of the folks that are at the hospital that are designed to help, they have such good knowledge and such good skills. They could help somebody like me go from 140 back up to 165 in 60 days. So I said, well, that's just incredible. I'm very, very healthy and thankful. When I finished doing started getting better at doing the chemo, so this is a runner thing, I went to the Arctic Shuffle, and it was an Arctic mile race, but I shuffled most of it, and then I ran the last 10 meters. And at that point, when you're doing chemo and your bone marrow's just trashed, I've got no red blood cells, so I'm gassed just trying to get up half a flight of stairs. It's such a hard thing to watch, You're used to being super strong and fit, and suddenly it's like you're so diminished. But you're making it up the stairs, and then I got outside and started doing a race. I did another race. I registered for something I finished chemo on May the 30th, and I went into a race on June the 1st, and I wondered if I'm going to be able to even finish 8K. And I came fourth in my age group, and I said, okay, we're on the way back. We're recovering. And I said, okay, what else can we do? So one of my friends, when we were out for a walk in February, when all I could do was just shuffle, and this is Canada, right? So it's minus 20 outside. And you're cold anyway, but so whatever, bring it on. So we're outside, shuffling outside, trying to walk maybe a mile or two. And he said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to sign up for this Ride to Conquer Cancer. It's in June. It's 200 kilometers. I just thought, are you out of your mind? I tried to spend 5 minutes on a trainer in the basement, and I can't hold myself up. Like, my arms aren't strong enough to hold myself up on a bicycle, and you want me to do 200 kilometers. He said, yep, we're going to do it. We're signing up right now. Get out your phone. Get out your Visa card. We're going to do this right now. So we signed up, and I thought, well, here we go. And so we assembled a team. We raised $40,000. I rode with 5,000 new friends. And it was such an incredible day, because when you go on one of these rides, on the back of your bike, they put up this plastic or a fiberglass rod with a yellow flag if you're a cancer survivor. And you get there and you kind of look, and it's just the place is full of bikes. But you see these yellow flags all through the parking lot. And when I talked to the guy that was setting up the bikes, he said, I asked him, it's hard to do? And he says, it's hard, but I do it because I have family that have also been affected by cancer, and I love helping out. And I said, well, there's a lot of flags here. And he said, listen, I want to tell you something. As someone that sits here and puts flags on bikes of survivors, when we started this, there weren't that many flags in the parking lot. Most people didn't make it. He said, now you look around, and he said, I'm now seeing people that are coming back because they've had treatment and they're surviving and they're actually able to ride with some of their family. He said, the tribe is getting larger. And he said, and that's a really good thing. And so you did get to see a number of people that were out there spinning their wheels, and it just broke my heart when you're riding along and you see the 3 little grandkids outside of someone's house, and they say, thanks for riding, you saved my mom or you saved my grandma. And, those are families that we're helping. So anyway, that was another fabulous day, and I thought, what else can we do that would maybe help make it easier for people to see, yes, I can make a difference? So I registered for a marathon in September. I did that because everyone else that I had talked to in the medical treatment side of it said, you'll be dead by October. And I said, well, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go do a marathon instead. And we'll do the funeral thing later. So I signed up, and I thought, man, if I could just get to the start line, and that would be really something to be able to say I could do that. And I, because of the chemo and everything else, I really only had about 6 weekends to start running again. So just to put this in perspective, if you've done a marathon before, it probably takes 4 to 5 months to start training. If you're fit, it takes about 5 months to get ready to go and do a race. I'm going to do this in 6 weeks, and I'm a stage 4 cancer person who's been told you're going to die by October, and I haven't been really doing much running. And I said, we're going to do it anyway. Let's go. So we showed up that day. It was pouring rain. It was kind of messy, but I looked around, and there's all these people that are wearing yellow bibs. And I didn't know them, but they knew me. And so they were running with me. And I didn't just finish that race. I ended up qualifying for Boston. So don't ask me how I did that, because nobody is ever going to tell you that you can qualify for Boston on 6 weekends of running. It's just not possible. But somehow we made it to that finish line, and we did qualify for Boston. And so I'm going on April the 21st from here, go home, pack, get my bag. I won't be wearing my spikes, but I will be bringing it. And we're going to go on to the start line, and I'll be one of the few people that can say I am a 4th-stage cholangiocarcinoma survivor. I am at the start line of Boston Marathon, and we're going to take a shot at that thing. There's 30,000 runners, but I'll be here running for you guys that says it can be done. So in October of last year, I got the "I'm so sorry" comment. And I thought, well, I'm so done with this. I'm so sorry means I don't know what to say, or I'm going to move on to the next thing, which means you're finished and we're going to suggest something, but I don't know what. And so I just thought, we're going to switch quarterbacks here. So I got a referral from our family doctor to go to Princess Margaret Hospital. And he said, don't worry, they've got a few people there. I'm going to arrange for you to meet them. And the hospital we had, there was maybe four oncologists, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to meet the specialist, right? So I went to the Princess Margaret Hospital, and they said they're on the 4th floor, and I thought, okay, well, which room are they in? It's like, no, it's the 4th floor. And I got there, and I was just like stunned. It's like the entire floor all looking after people like us. And I thought, well, this is incredible. I got so many people to chat with and experts to help out. And they did. Nobody there has ever said, I'm so sorry. They just said, okay, what's the plan? What can we do next? This makes sense. Let's test for this. Let's plan for that. And when I told them that I'm going to go do Boston on April the 21st, nobody looked at me and said, oh boy, this guy's just out to lunch. They said, I love it. You get in there and swing, and I'm going to make sure that I help you get as healthy as possible for that run date. And that would be a great bucket list thing to be able to say. So they've been very, very helpful. They helped put me onto Tipsovo starting January the 7th. I had a little bit more chemo. And so, we start getting a little bit better. The tumor's becoming stable. I have zero side effects with Tipsovo, like zero, compared to where we were before. And then you start to shift your thinking about, so this is where I am. How's everybody else doing? And there is perhaps a chance for me to go and pay it forward and help some others out. Where, you sit in the chemo suite, and I sat beside people that they're elderly. Maybe they don't understand English as well. They have no kids. I've met families where the mom's under the blanket. I can see she's crying. Her arm's burning, and I'm thinking, and the husband's there crying, and I'm thinking, this is such a cruel thing. And I asked if I could help, and just being able to offer a few kind words really goes a long way in helping somebody feel like, okay, don't be afraid. You're not alone. We'll walk through this together. Keep going. Even when it's this hard, you can do it, and those kinds of things go a long way in helping people out. So when I got to the beginning of January 2025, these are the things I said, okay, I'm going to go. I don't have a job now. I'm retired. This is my full-time job. So I went and I wrote a book on this. And I wrote it in 3 weeks. I published it on Amazon. I started podcasts on Spotify and Apple. I actually I had a friend that rode bikes in the summer, and he said, we're going to create a documentary. So I actually had a film crew 2 weeks ago in my house. They lived with us for 7 days. That's really annoying. But they're doing a documentary on this. And it's not about me. It's about cholangiocarcinoma, and it's about the cholangiocarcinoma family, the people that are here in this room, the journey that we're on, the things that we're experiencing. It's really nothing like I've ever experienced before. And I said, we need to share this message with others so that they can understand what's possible. And so the film crew will be going to Boston. They'll be going to the Princess Margaret Ride to Conquer Cancer. And I also suggested that they talk to Melinda so that they can document in that film so the journey that she's been on, and many of the other people that are here as well. And that they would look at having that run then in films, in theaters across Canada and possibly the States in Cancer Week in February of 2026. So that would be the launch. And then the other thing I did, which is incredible, is I had another friend that had cancer, and he said, look, I've built a platform, because we talked about how can we share information and things. He helped build a platform. It cost him $2 million, and he said, I'm going to give it to you. And I said, I can never pay you back. I can't pay you back for that. And he said, I'm not expecting a payback. He said, I'm paying it forward. So you never know what's going to come, but you also never know what you're going to get back in return. And I'm finding the more you give, the more you get back. So thank you for all your help.